Viewers, tonight we are focusing on a story that has turned into a massive controversy. Some will tell you that this is a story of two comments, 7 years apart by Aamir Khan. Yes, viewers. 2 days ago, Aamir Khan burst upon our screens and demanded that we watch his movie, Laal Singh Chadda. He said for good measure that he expressed regret for criticizing growing intolerance in India in 2015, as if there was some connection. There was some connection to his movie, and perhaps what he might have assumed would have been a lukewarm response. But viewers, don't let them fool you. Don't let Aamir Khan believe that the reason he is not getting rave reviews, or the reason that people haven't flooded into the cinema theaters, is because the majority community in India is boorish, is sulking, is looking to get back at him for some fatuous remark he made in 2015. No, viewers. This debate tonight, this story is about a lot more. This is about one side who thinks that it has a greater right to feel offended than the other. Viewers, let me explain. A few months ago, a movie was released by a director called Vivek Agnihotri. That movie was called the Kashmir Files. Many hundreds and thousands of Indians watched this movie. It broke all sorts of records. Viewers, but one side felt very offended. And that side said that this entire movie is a propaganda tool for Hindu nationalists to paint themselves as victims. This side said that to punish this sort of lie that is being perpetuated, this Islamophobia, we must not watch this movie. Viewers, they said that this movie is hateful. It will divide this country. Don't watch it. Cancel culture was at its peak, viewers, in the context of the Kashmir Files. Now, viewers, when a section of this country hasn't shown up to watch the Aamir Khan film, Laal Singh Chadda, people are saying, oh, you see, Hindu nationalists have a problem with a Muslim director, actor. Oh, that you see this Aamir Khan spoke up on behalf of his community, minorityism, inclusiveness, and this bunch of Hindus can't stomach this, so they haven't shown up. Well, let me tell you, viewers, a large number of ordinary Indians who are walking out of the cinema halls are just plain disappointed. They find the movie pointless. One top film critic who is quoted left, right, and center has given it a 1.5 stars or something like that. I don't follow the movies too much, viewers, but I'm told that there are a large number of critics who have a problem. There are others, of course, who have opinions. They say that, oh, well, and there might be a minority, I don't know, viewers. There's no express poll here. Social media is not really a barometer. Many people believe that Aamir Khan has also been selective in his representation of Hindu religious symbolism. And they have a right if they feel that Aamir Khan hasn't done good by one particular faith is selective. That's their interpretation, and they have a right, therefore, not to watch his movies. But to make that the only reason, viewers, that is a clever obfuscation. It is an attempt at telling you and I that India is plunging headfirst into the abyss of close-minded bigotry, of a narrow parochialism. This is rubbish. Listen to some vox pops, viewers. Listen to some vox pops. Vox pops are casual comments that are taken from people on any given issue. And in fact, tonight I'm going to invite you, the viewers, on your favorite channel, your favorite platform, and your favorite show to tell us and answer one basic question. Will you watch Laal Singh Chadda? I'm not putting a leading question out there. I'm just asking you, will you watch Laal Singh Chadda? And you come and tell us why you want to or why you don't want to. But viewers, be careful about those individuals tonight who are going to say, oh, narrow-minded Hindu bigots are responsible. Remember, when they say that, you must point out when this entire ecosystem that expresses this kind of sentiment and tries to, at some level or the other, take a dig at the Hindu community, you remind them about what they said about the satanic verses of Salman Rushdie, when they all said, oh, you know, we must not allow Salman Rushdie or his movie or his book or what have you to be circulated in this country, because it goes against the spirit of Islam, the faith, the doctrines. There are several such decisions that were taken, viewers, in the name of keeping the peace. But in case there are some Hindus who have decided to boycott Aamir Khan's movie, no problem. They're within their rights. They should not be derided, because unfortunately, as I told you, viewers, as I told you, in this country only one side arrogates itself the right to feel offended above and beyond any other side. So do contact us tonight. This is our channel. And I will first play out the first impressions of ordinary moviegoers. What did they think? Let's listen.
लाल सिंह चड्ढा देखने जा रहे हैं। अभी न्यूज़ पे देख रहे हैं, बड़े विवाद हो रही है, वो सब देखें ऐसा इसमें क्या है जो इतना विवाद बढ़ रहा है, कि फिल्म में क्या दिखाया गया है, उसी वजह से ज्यादा इच्छा बढ़ रही है देखने की।
तो आपको लगता है कि जो विवाद हो रहा है उसकी वजह से लोग ज्यादा फिल्म देखेंगे?
हमको तो लगता है जब विवाद होता है तो आदमी जाता है।
बहुत अच्छी, बहुत 100 में 100 बहुत अच्छी मूवी है। मिस्टर परफेक्शनिस्ट कहलाते हैं और बाखूबी निभाया है रोल को। आप लोग जाके देखिए, बहुत अच्छी मूवी, बहुत स्लो पिच पे है मूवी, बहुत अच्छे से हर एक चीज दिखाई है, बहुत अच्छा रोल दिखाया है।
आमिर खान का इसलिए कोई देखना ही नहीं चाहता, क्योंकि इन्होंने भगवान का वो पीके बनाई थी, तो भगवान का भी इन्होंने विरोध किया था, काफ़ी ज़्यादा भगवान का अपमान किया था, तो इसलिए अभी कोई तो देख नहीं रहा है। और बॉलीवुड को इसलिए नहीं कोई देख रहा है क्योंकि अभी काफ़ी लोग बॉलीवुड से वही है, खुश नहीं है। हाँ,
The reasons I see the movie is not going well because first of all I think it's a remake of already a Hollywood movie, and also here in people in India there are so many issues with the person attached. I think that should not be the view, because there are so many people attached with the movie, not just the actor. So many lives should not be affected just because of one person.
Well, there you go, viewers. Your lay viewers are not some bigots. They're quite open-minded, as I told you. They're very open-minded. So Amir Khan must stop playing victim. I don't know if he preempted this, because I'll tell you something. Here are some hard facts. some of his other movies haven't done well. Yes, this film also has opened very poorly. In fact, it's done worse than the first day collections of the Thugs of Hindustan, which also ended up as was categorized as a flop. Mela was released in the year 2000, budget 18 crores, it earned 15.18 crores. Mangal Pandey, The Rising, release year was 2005, budget was 37 crores, it's earned about 27.86 crores. Dhobi Ghat, released 2011, budget 13 crores, it earned just a little over 13 crores. Thugs of Hindustan, released 2018, budgeted 310 crores, earned 138 crores. So viewers, this is following a familiar trajectory if indeed it doesn't do well. There are other films that haven't done well. Maybe his bankability, his perfectionism, the themes he's picked, maybe those are more to blame. Anyhow, I don't want to take up too much time. Let's open this up. I want to first begin with Dr. Ranganathan. And Dr. Ranganathan, you heard my introduction. And I don't espouse bans, and neither do you. We are not those people who want to cancel out others. We only lower their fader when they talk too much and they talk over other people. So, having established that, I just want to ask you, there is one set. They react so differently. And that's what I want to get at, the hypocrisy of it all. When Mr. Anupam Kher and Mr. Agnihotri made the movie Kashmir Files, there were many people associated with that movie also, many livelihoods that were attached to that movie also. But there was this whole group of, I don't know what to call them, let's call them the ecosystem. Liberals is perhaps not the right word. They chafe at Lutyens. So I don't know what to say. Let's call it the ecosystem of the new wokery. When the new wokery got so upset at the Kashmir Files, there was no talk about freedom of expression, for example. Here, when Mr. Aamir Khan's film is not doing well, people are reading motives. Oh, these Hindus, parochial Hindus, have decided that they're going to boycott Aamir Khan, teach him a lesson. How do you react to all of this?
Good evening, Rahul. You've really summed it up perfectly. I think there are three important issues here. Let me delve into them one by one. First, you're absolutely right. Look, intelligence and rationale and logic has never been the strong point of these leftists. So, it is amusing to note the hypocrisy of those who called for the boycott of Kashmir Files and Vivek Agnihotri, as you rightly put it, now lamenting the boycott of Laal Singh Chadda. These crybabies, mostly, as I said, mediocre leftists and darbaris, failures in life as I call them, wail the moment the shoe is on the other foot. In the last 75 years, they have reveled in boycotting, cancelling, censoring hundreds of films, actors, directors, producers, singers, anchors, who they felt professed an ideology opposite to theirs. Heck, they even charged Utpal Dutt with sedition for Dusapner Nagri. They jailed him for 7 months for Kalol. They banned Balraj Sahni, who was a communist, for Jadoo Ki Kursi. They banned the film Andi, banned film Kissa Kursi Ka. There are hundreds of examples. But now they are running scared because the non-left or right is doing the same to them and their ideology. Coupled with this, Rahul, is also a truth that Bollywood has a clique that pushes Hindu phobia and then expects the viewer to accept it, knowingly or subconsciously. There is a refreshing Twitter handle by the name of Gems of Bollywood, started by journalist Swati Goyal Sharma and an ITN Sanjeev, that has ruthlessly exposed what has been a Hindu-phobic and Hindu-mistic bent of Bollywood since decades. हमें पता भी नहीं चलता था, हमें पिलाई जाती थी चीजें. Layered on top is the rampant selectivity. Leave alone critiquing Islam, वो तो बहुत दूर की बात है. Bollywood has hailed and revered it. Look, Hindus are tolerant and accepting of mocking. That's how great reforms have happened in this great religion. Samskara, whether you can today that you call it an anti-Hindu film, was a well-accepted film, although it was banned by the Congress. But to always selectively highlight Hinduism's ills, to always mock only Hinduism, displays a mindset of fear and awe of the other religion. Number two, it is also worth pondering, Rahul, that while boycott, as you said, is a legitimate right of an individual, absolutely true, as a society, We will become monochromatic and cleansed of all diverse views if we stretch boycotting to its limits that the left does and wants. For example, I disagree with the views of the actor Swara Bhaskar. But should I stop buying Harpic, for which she is the ambassador for? What is Harpic's fault if Swara's views are irrational and laughable? And what is my toilet's fault? Tomorrow, if we don't like the views of Amitabh Bachchan, should we boycott administration of polio drops to our kids, for which he is the ambassador? Finally, very briefly, on the issue of Laal Singh Chadda itself, Rahul, as a scientist, I look at evidence and past precedents. And on both counts, it is difficult for me right now to say that Laal Singh Chadda has bombed at the box office because of Aamir Khan's anti-Modi, anti-current atmosphere or anti-Hindu propaganda. If this was the case, then three idiots that came after Aamir Khan called Modi a murderer and wanted him jailed and hated BJP and its policies openly wouldn't have become a big hit. Also, Dangal, Aamir's biggest hit, came 2 years after the Hindu-phobic film PK and a year after his infamous comment on India being unsafe. So Dangal should have tanked as well. So I think the tanking of this film might just be due to it simply not resonating with the audience.
I have a feeling too, and I'm going to ask this. Why did Aamir Khan express regret? If he spoke from conviction in 2015, then why express regret? Was it another way of sort of painting himself as a victim of Hindu bigotry? I mean, why? And that too, 2 days before. For all these years, it's been 7 good long years. Other movies have come out. As Dr. Ranganathan is saying, Three Idiots, Dangal, what have you. I don't even watch Hindi cinema, but, you know, I take his word for it. And others like, Thugs and Mangal Pandey and, this Mela and Dhobi Ghat and Thugs of Hindustan. All of these movies have come out recently or in the recent past. People went to watch them not because he was a Muslim or despite the fact that he was a Muslim, but because he did a good job. Sanjay Jha, why is Aamir Khan today playing the victim in this sort of callous way? People don't like this, you know. This is an attempt at trying to paint the Hindu community into some sort of extremely parochial, sort of, narrow-minded colors. That's not right.
Well, Rahul, let us remember that when Amir Khan made his statement in that media event, and I challenge anybody on the panel to tell me what did he say.
Arey, Sanjay Jha ji, it's not about that. My question is different.
No.
Why is he raking it up?
Statement. What was so objectionable about what he said?
Nothing.
And in a democracy, to
if
be
he feels like it, exactly. So why is he? So I'm asking you, Sanjay Jha, now 1 minute. Now you see again, whataboutery has begun. I never asked you this question. Did I ask you? I think in a free democracy like ours, people can say whatever they want to, as long as they don't cross certain lines. And those lines, I think even Dr. Ranganathan will tell you, he's a free speech absolutist. I'm not, but he has certain criteria which he can explain. But Sanjay Jha, what I don't understand is, why has suddenly Aamir Khan decided to express regret? Now, there is an ecosystem that is trying to paint India as some Islamophobic nation. Is this part of that attempt? That's all I'm asking you, Sanjay Jha. Why suddenly? Why out of the blue? There are other movies that have come out after he made those comments. He didn't feel the need to be apologetic then. Is this a clever way of trying to build this narrative? My movie didn't work because what can I do? I'm a Muslim filmmaker who just spoke my mind in 2015. That's not true. I've told you the numbers on his other movies. This, I feel,
Can I
is worrying.
add a layer on that?
Okay. Yes, doctor.
Before Sanjay answers, Sanjay just 10 seconds.
Give other people a chance to speak. Yeah. How much will you hog the limelight? Let others have.
That's being unfair. You've taken my time many times, and I was just being kind. I said I just want to add a layer to what Rahul is asking you. Come on. It's Friday.
Yes.
Add a layer.
Thank
please.
you.
Okay.
Thank you. And the layer was, I think, what Rahul is trying to say is that maybe Amir has preempted this. If this film tanks, then he will say that the Hindus have done it, without realizing that the biggest hits of Bollywood ever, that was 2 years after the rampantly Hindu-phobic PK and his remarks in 2015. Dangal came after that. So that's what I'm trying to say. You need to explain this. I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to say that the boycotting call is going to tank this because it's anti-Muslim, Hindutva, fascists have done it. Then you also need to explain why the Hindutva fascist made his film Dangal one of the biggest hits.
Okay. If you have finished your layering, Rahul, I didn't know that Ranganathan has today become a co-anchor of the show, but let me try and respond to you taking half the time that Mr. Ranganathan says, and without speaking for 5 minutes and then saying give me 30 seconds more, which is a standard playbook. Let me answer you very, very quickly. I don't think Aamir Khan has introduced religion in any of his conversations, number one. Number two, as anybody who is a creative, artistic filmmaker, he has a right to expect that there should not be any obstruction to the people who want to see the film. He is distressed by the boycott. I think he was only being very candid to say that this was a sad moment for him. Number three, very critical. Look at the language Anand Ranganathan has used. Hindu-phobic PK. Well, Anand Ranganathan, if you knew anything about Bollywood, you would know that PK was a humongous success. And the people who saw it, majority I'm assuming were Hindus, were not at all appalled or aghast or astonished by what the film's theme was. So get your facts right. Number four, and Rahul, this is very critical, that end of day, the cancel culture that, you know, Anand and other people keep talking about is the wokeism of the left. Even I am not promoting cancel culture, despite the fact that I may be a liberal, for the simple reason that the BJP actually worked through its own trolls and its leaders condemning that statement by Aamir Khan. A very popular brand stopped advertising with Amir, who was the brand manager of that brand. So, you know, who has started this? Let's not go down that road.
Sanjay Jha, I'm only asking you a simple question which you haven't answered. You know, you've taken a pot shot at Dr. Ranganathan, you've taken one indirectly at me, saying that you've started co-anchoring with him. Look, I just asked you a simple question. And that question is, why did Aamir Khan suddenly need to invoke, in an indirect way, his identity? You say he doesn't make religious movies. Then why is he painting himself, one second, as a victim? Sir, please. As a film actor, he is painting himself even before releasing the movie. Anand Ranganathan's
no,
he came out. Did he? Okay, let me play out. No, one minute now, viewers. One minute. In 2015, viewers, you decide. I'll play out these two sound bites, okay? In 2015, you decide.
Religion, you tell me.
One second, Sanjay Jha, 1 second. Please listen. Let's decode this. Let's decode this. Okay.
Even an actor is an identity for.
Now you won't let me speak. Just give me 30 seconds, sir. I'll explain it to you. Maybe you haven't understood the question, or maybe you're deliberately not wanting to understand it. So I want you to listen. 2015. Why suddenly Aamir Khan says my wife at that time, Kiran Rao, is feeling like she's not safe in this country. Now remember, viewers, the backdrop. And you all know the backdrop. Then listen to him 2 days ago, where he says, I regret, you know, I'm sorry. He doesn't exactly say the word sorry, but if you feel that I have offended you, etc., I regret this, that, the other. Now just let's play this out, this juxtaposition. Listen to this.
When I sit at home and talk to Kiran, you know, Kiran and I have lived all our lives in India. For the first time, Kiran says, should we move out of India? Now, that's a disastrous and very big statement for Kiran to make to me. She fears for her child. She fears for, you know, what the atmosphere around us will be. She feels scared to open the newspapers every day. So that does indicate that there is a sense of growing disquiet.
अगर मैंने किसी का दिल दुखाया है किसी चीज़ से तो मुझे उस बात का दुख है और मैं किसी का दिल नहीं दुखाना चाहता हूँ और आई थिंक बाकी अगर लोगों को जिनको फिल्म नहीं देखनी है तो मैं उस बात की इज्जत करूँगा क्या कर सकते हैं लेकिन मैं चाहूँगा कि ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा लोग फिल्म देखें हमने बड़े मेहनत से फिल्म बनाई है और सिर्फ मैं नहीं हूँ फिल्म जो बनती है वो सैकड़ों लोगों के मेहनत से बनती है So I hope people like it.
So you heard that, viewers. The reference is to a growing sort of intolerance, unbridled Hindutva, Islamophobia without mentioning it. We all know the elephants in the room. So Sanjay Jha, suddenly you now come out 2 days before your latest film, knowing that the others have bombed pretty much at the box office, the last 3 or 2 or whatever it is. And now you apprehend perhaps this is going to happen. So you create. I'm only asking you, do you think this is possible? So you try to create a reason, a rationale. Oh, I got cancelled by, the bigot Hindus.
Well, have I said it? I don't think Aamir Khan has said it. The simple point, Rahul, and give me 30 seconds and I wrap up. I won't speak a word after that on your show unless you invite me to, is this, that even Akshay Kumar's recent large mega projects have bombed. I mean, these commercial success and failures are part of the game. I think the answer here is simple, that he's made a film, and over the last couple of weeks on the internet, especially on Twitter and other social media platforms, there is an organized attempt to say stay away from the film, linking it to Aamir's comments in a media event. And as I was telling somebody, I think on your program yesterday, roughly $25,000 millionaires from India have gone abroad. 9.5 lakh Indians have left since Mr. Modi became Prime Minister and have migrated abroad. Are you going to call them traitors? Are they going abroad just because, they kind of are attracted by tax havens or by fancy jobs or goat cheese? Or maybe they are disillusioned with Mr. Modi's government. There is an intolerance, of course. Is this government authoritarian?
Oh,
definitely.
Sanjay Jha, okay.
Is this government
there is no data that you are furnishing to establish this. There's no data. You're saying people are going. Of course, it's a flat world. People will look for opportunities wherever. In fact, it's a great indicator that Indians are now confident and skilled enough to try their luck in any part of the world and are being accepted. I mean, come on, they are not going out. No, hang on. They are not going out as illegals, in 1 minute, sir. They are not going out as illegals. They are going out to invest in other countries. Okay, you'll tomorrow say that the biggest companies are investing in Africa because, oh my God, India is intolerant, burning. Fair enough, sir. I mean, if that's your view, that's your view. I can't stop you. Okay, 1 second. Sushil Pandit is there. Sushil Pandit. But before that, I want to quickly take some of our viewers. O.P. Swaminathan is calling in. Good evening, sir. Please go ahead.
Yeah, Rahul, good evening.
Yeah.
You see, it has become a fashion now to criticize Hinduism.
Yes.
And that is the standard for secularism. Amir Khan apologized, just like a politician, that if I had hurt, that means he doesn't apologize and he has no regret. If he had criticized, if any director had criticized any other religion in a movie other than Hinduism, our court should have come down heavily, saying that due to this statement there is mayhem in the country and this person should be arrested.
Yeah.
The same lobby of many of the political parties and many governments wanted the Kashmir Files to be banned.
Absolutely.
So it was based on facts.
Absolutely.
So it was based on facts.
Even if it wasn't, even for a moment if it wasn't, it's artistic license and that movie should have been allowed, but it was inconvenient, viewers, to a whole bunch of people who call themselves, as Anand Ranganathan has called them, leftists. Well, I'll just call them hypocrites. These hypocrites didn't want to see something that worried them, so they decided, let's go for a ban. Here, viewers, everyone is sort of backing Aamir Khan, his freedom of expression. It's all a bit obtuse. Shailendra, go ahead. Good evening, sir. Go ahead, sir.
Good evening, sir. You are forgetting 2 names. One is Fana. And the other one is that he went and sat with Medha Patkar for preventing the increasing of the height of the dam.
There you go.
The dam's height has increased, and today Kutch and Saurashtra, which has a good amount of Muslim population, is getting water in house by tap.
Public सब जानती है, viewers. सब जानती है. Very well called out, Shailendra ji. Rasik calling in from Mumbai. Yes, Mr. Rasik, go ahead. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening to everybody. अच्छा सुनिए, ये फिल्म जो है इसने बहुत ही अपसेट किया है. फिल्म में कुछ मजा नहीं आई. इससे पहले जो फिल्म थी उसकी, और ये फना मैंने 2-3 बार देखी. पीके मैंने देखी 2 बार. और मेरा कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है इनसे कि भाई ये हिंदू है, ये मुस्लिम है, लेकिन ये फिल्म में ऐसा कुछ नहीं है जो मुझे मजा आया.
There you go. So and I'm coming back to Sushil Pandit, but before that, Mr. Akhilesh calling in from Varanasi. Good evening, sir. Yes.
Good evening, Rahul. Just one question to all the panelists and all the intellectuals at large. how many of you expect Jews of the world to endorse any celebrity who name their children Hitler?
Okay.
I mean, if there are anyone,
right? I understand where you're going with that. I understand where you're going with that. Okay. I mean, that's another question. I understand where you're going with that. I completely understand. That's a very, very interesting, layered question. I'll ask them. I'll ask them in just 30 seconds. But Sushil Pandit, what do you make of this clever attempt at trying to once again presume that Islamophobia is driving people from not going to watch Aamir Khan's movie?
I am not such a film buff, Rahul. Thank you for calling me to your show. You are dealing with a very clever person. In fact, a lot of very clever people in Bollywood who layer their hypocrisy with a veneer of sophistication and reasonableness, and also this put on humility, whenever needed, of asking for forgiveness, tendering apologies, whatever, and sounding very, very accommodating and reasonable. But you see them behaving like hypocrites, and you used that word a short while ago. Remember the film Dangal? A career was about to get launched of Zaira Wasim from Kashmir, and she was humiliated and publicly forced to renounce acting in films. Not one word came out of Aamir Khan at that time. Not one. Who has very eloquently, very often, talked about issues, political issues, social issues. Number two, in Kashmir, there is not even one functioning cinema hall. Those who cry about freedom of expression, those who cry about freedom itself. This film industry hasn't uttered a word as to why aren't film halls, cinema halls allowed to function in Kashmir. Under the spell of jihad, film goers have to come to Jammu to watch a film on a big screen. Now, this is the level of hypocrisy that prevails. And, a very thin veneer, it is very thinly disguised, this hypocrisy in their conduct when they take positions on issues. Remember when he went to Turkey, the height of Turkey's hostility towards India, at that time he meets the First Lady of Turkey. What was he trying to tell us? I have a view on why PK and other films succeeded. At that time, this hypocrisy was not so evident. We actually were giving him a long rope. We were willing to give him benefit of doubt. We were willing to consider that this was, in fact, his honestly held view, and he had, as a free citizen, right to make the kind of films he made, and we were looking for pure entertainment. Today, we are consciously looking for hidden political messaging and propaganda masquerading as entertainment. And therefore, today, we are in a position to extract that price. I'm very happy. If it is due to the so-called Hindutva people that this film is failing, if it is that, I am very happy today that public opinion is asserting itself. India is a free democracy. If a filmmaker has a right to make the kind of films he wants to make, we, the cinegoers, have a right to choose what not to watch, what not to patronize, what not to fund.
Right.
And that is where the issue must settle.
Well, I just want to, Mr. Pandit, just want to correct you on this one point. Amir Khan did speak up on behalf of Zaira. He did come out and say that I can understand and imagine what led her to make the statement. Zaira, I want you to know that we are all with you. The beauty is that bright, young, talented, hardworking, respectful, caring, and courageous kids like you are a role model for kids, not only in India, but across the world. You certainly are a role model for me. May God bless you. Love, Amir. P.S. I appeal to everyone to now leave her alone and respect the fact that she's just a 16-year-old girl trying her best to deal with life, unquote. So this is what she had said. Yeah, Dr. Ranganathan, yes.
Rahul.
Yes, just to buttress Sushilji's point.
He has sidestepped the reasons why Zaira had to do what she did.
Yes.
He's completely sidestepped. That's why I said they're clever people. They mask their hypocrisy under this veneer of reasonableness.
Right. So you're saying that instead of coming out,
Yes, in his film, Rahul, and also in his TV shows, he is mocking the so-called practices of Hinduism, Karwa Chauth, Raksha Bandhan even, in PK, God knows how many others. But in real life, when it happens, when Islam and its scriptures force a woman, a talented woman, to renounce and not go into acting, he just says, wish you all the best, without critiquing. This is the reality of Aamir Khan.
Okay. So Danish Qureshi, let me bring you in on this. It's an important story. It's an important story because an attempt is being made to try and portray the majority community as boorish, narrow-minded, parochial, a community that is going to suddenly, boycott Aamir Khan because he happened to sort of make a couple of comments which on intolerance, the growing Hindutva, etc. in this country. Do you believe that this should be in any way entertained, Mr. Qureshi, this victimhood culture?
Rahul, my reply is that I assume that Bollywoodians are much more best politicians than the mainstream politician of political parties. Till today, from 2015, he didn't regret. Almost number of movies has come of Aamir Khan, launched and get succeeded. We saw that. But now this time he has regretted. Why? I think that he saw the situation that this is a proper time to regret and to move ahead, and Laal Singh Chadda will come in the market, and whatever the result, or he's a good businessman, whatever result will come, each and every one will see that. But the thing is, in 2006, when Mr. Modi was the Chief Minister of Gujarat, at that moment, even Fana of Aamir Khan was banned in Gujarat. In the same manner, he was being objection by the nationalist Hindu and Bharatiya Janata Party to ban this Fana, and in Gujarat, Fana was banned. So I believe that each and every Bollywoodian is affiliated with any political party.
Dr.
And the same tactics BJP has used, that those who are not agree. Rahul, let me allow to complete.
Finish.
Those who are not agree with the policy of Bharatiya Janata Party, they are anti-national, they are anti-Hindus, they want to establish that.
There you go, viewers. There you go. I told you there will be a whole bunch of people who will say that the reason his film is not doing well, and they'll blame the Hindus again, is because we want to punish him. Can you imagine, viewers? Look at how cleverly this has been framed. Okay, Dr. Ranganathan.
Rahul, very briefly for the previous panelists. Number one, I'm sorry, but that's fake news, because much to the anger of right-wing Hindus, Modi never banned Fana. And what's more, he's actually even met Aamir Khan and taken a selfie with him. But I want to ask one question to this gentleman. Do you think...
Anand,
please check your facts, sir. Please check your facts. I've already checked my facts. Modi did not officially govern Gujarat.
I am proper Gujarati, and I knew the entire. I was the witness. I was the witness of entire episode.
खाना छोड़ दूंगा. मैं मैसूर पाक खाना छोड़ दूंगा, थेपला खाना शुरू कर दूंगा अगर मोदी ने फना बैन करी.
कोई बात नहीं. आप आइएगा, मैं बता दूंगा. अरे सुनिए कैसे? अरे तो मैं आपको आपका ये चैलेंज स्वीकार है, आप आ जाइए गुजरात, मैं आपको पूरे गुजरात में ले चलूंगा, देख लीजिएगा आप.
प्लीज, अगर मोदी ने फना बैन करी होती तो मेरे पास एक लिस्ट है, क्राउड सोर्स लिस्ट है, द थिंग्स दैट बीजेपी एंड कांग्रेस हैव बैंड. आई वुड हैव इंक्लूडेड इन देयर. आई चेक्ड दिस.
मुझे नहीं पता कि आपके पास लिस्ट है या नहीं है, बट लिसन वन थिंग, हमने खुद उसकी सीडी मंगा के देखी है, इसलिए मुझे तो पता है कि पूरा पिक्चर क्या चल रहा था गुजरात में.
राहुल,
नहीं, सुनिए, मैं तो गुजराती हूं और मैंने सारा एपिसोड देखा. आप आ जाइएगा, मैं बता दूंगा आपको.
Okay, we will have this cross-checked in 30 seconds. Siddharth Talia listen-ins to each one of these shows, and he is going to now look for whether Mr. Modi stepped out and said that in our state of Gujarat, when he was Chief Minister, we are banning Fana. We'll get this checked. We'll get this checked. Yeah. But I want to bring in Karan Verma and also some of our viewers. We just lost some of those lines. There were 4 holding on. But I want to very quickly bring in Karan Verma. Karan Verma, yes, go ahead.
Look, Rahul, the fact is that today there is a perfect storm that has brought down this film. Mr. Sanjay Jha is right that PK was the highest grosser of the year. But sir, it speaks volumes about the magnanimity of the Hindus. It attests the fact that they are tolerant enough to even take a joke or even take mocking. But that doesn't change the fact that PK was Hindu-phobic. Rahul, the problem is that Aamir Khan today has lost all credibility. He is considered as this intelligent actor who does a lot of research before taking up any project. And when Aamir Khan mocks Hindu sentiments without doing adequate research on the scientific rationale behind idol worship, behind Pran Pratishtha Puja, people know that he is a phony act. When Aamir Khan mocks Raksha Bandhan and Karwa Chauth on Satyamev Jayate and doesn't speak a word about halala and triple talaq, people know that it is his selectivism. It is not his innocence. He is not a witless wonder who can miss out on such points, but there is a deliberate attempt of one-sidism. That is what people see. People know that when Aamir Khan meets the First Lady of Turkey, he can't be oblivious of the fact that we have hostile relations with Turkey who's opposing us on our internal matters, like CAA and Article 370. No sovereign nation can tolerate that. In fact, in America, he would have been booked under the Logan Act. But such is the tolerance of this great nation, which he mocks from time to time and says that there is a rising intolerance, even though data at that time suggested otherwise. It is this lack of credibility and phonyism of Aamir Khan that people are boycotting his film. And the set of viewers who come on your channel, they say the entire story. Some don't like the film for what it is. Some boycott it, which they have every right to do in an open democracy. And some just don't like the man anymore. So it's an open democracy and it's the perfect storm which is bringing
you might be right, and it's also very funny because there's no official boycott. No one has come out and said we are boycotting it. So anyone who gives it a skip is assumed to be boycotting this movie. Viewers, this standard has never been applied to any other movie. That way we can say that the people who haven't gone to watch Raksha Bandhan are also boycotting this film. This is ridiculous. Viewers, this is absolutely ridiculous. I want to bring in Sanjay Jha, and I want to quickly, Siddharth Talia, Nizam Bhai has told me, Siddharth Talia has sent me a WhatsApp message, and he says that in Gujarat there was no official ban. No official ban on the movie Fana. Yes. No state government came out and said that we are banning Fana. Voluntarily. Voluntarily.
Mysore Pak bhejwaiye. I demand 1 kilo Mysore Pak.
दानिश जी
सुनिए, ओके नो इश्यू, मैं भिजवा दूंगा, उसके साथ साथ आपको बैंक का वो भी भिजवा दूंगा, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं। आनंद जी, आप हमारे मित्र हैं, बिना उसके भी मैं भिजवा दूंगा। बिल्कुल 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 मैं बिल्कुल भिजवा दूंगा मैं आनंद जी, साथ में आपको रिपोर्ट भी दूंगा। हाँ, आई एम ऑल्सो सीरियस, आई एम नॉट टॉकिंग नॉन सीरियसली।
Okay, so viewers, I think what, and let's give him the benefit of doubt, what Mr. Qureshi is getting confused with is the fact that some multiplexes on their own, voluntarily, did not want to play the movie. Now viewers, let me tell you, in London, this is exactly what is happening. One minute. Sir, मेरी बात तो सुन लीजिए ना, आपने कितना बोला, मैं थोड़े facts बता रहा हूँ viewers को, I'm not trying to, मैं किसी को गुमराह नहीं कर रहा, please, unlike other people on this show. I'm just being, yes, so I just want to say that in London recently, viewers, multiplexes, no government did this, multiplexes withdrew a movie that they believed hurt the sentiments of Muslim brothers. Now that is a choice. And there, let me tell you, viewers, people actually went after the multiplexes. This is wrong, they said. And we agree. Nonetheless, Sanjay Jha, I want to quickly come back to you. I have more viewers. So I want to ask you, by playing this Muslim card, quote unquote, as some are now beginning to say, is Aamir Khan perpetuating a narrative, working to a perhaps political purpose? That's the fundamental question to you, Sanjay Jha. Now answer it, please. No whataboutery here.
Well, simple answer. I believe firstly I've seen the film, and I think it's a creative genius at work. Whether it commercially succeeds or not, that's perhaps for the public to give a verdict on.
Right.
But the more pertinent point: why is all this happening since 2014? It's a question all of us need to introspect on. There was some gentleman on your program who talked about Amir being with the wife of the Turkish President Erdogan, but to the last of my knowledge, India had diplomatic relationship with Turkey, and India's Prime Minister, by the way, went visiting to Lahore to actually participate in the festivities happening in Nawaz Sharif's home, and we all know what happened exactly a week later in Pathankot. So let us not try and,
Rahul, 30 seconds.
Some kind of
I really admire
that everything is here
Sanjay.
will be looked at through the religious prism. There are people who don't like Aamir Khan. There are people who don't like his comment, which was critical of India. They are saying boycott it. They have a freedom and the fundamental right to do it.
Who is saying? Can you name me? Can you name me 5 people?
30 seconds. If I can come
some social media trend. You know how these trends appear on social media? You can have a paid activity, sir. I mean, come on, you know this.
And Rahul, if I can come in here, 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Yes. I really admire my good friend Sanjay. Don't go by his appearance, physical appearance. He's only 8 years old.
Yeah.
He was born in 2014. Because before 2014, while he was in the Congress, he doesn't even want to acknowledge that 25 films were banned just by UPA 1 and 2. 25 films were banned. And he kept silent. Then there was no intolerance. There was no emergency, there was no censorship. Sanjay ji chup the. Sab creative freedom mil rahi thi. That is what I'm saying. Sanjay is only 8 years old. He is the Benjamin Button of all panelists.
I'll respond to you. You know, Anand, Amar Akbar Anthony was made once upon a time in this country. I doubt whether anybody can do a take of this film now. Because the atmosphere has changed. We all know it. Why are you pretending? Don't laugh. That's a hypocritical.
What are you saying? The Congress is still banning films.
Cannot make.
Do you realize it? Do you realize that the Congress was...
1 second. We all know these political parties and their track records. It cuts both ways. I'm just going across to our viewers. Rajiv calling in from Bengaluru, Dr. Ram calling in from Chennai, Pradeep from Bengaluru, and Ram Sharan Saab from Sitamarhi. I'm just going to go first to Rajiv. Mr. Rajiv calling in from Bengaluru. Go ahead, sir. I think we've lost you. Dr. Ram calling in from Chennai. Are you there?
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah,
good evening. Hi.
So, good evening, sir. Just a quick question to all of you.
Yeah.
It seems like as of this person, Amir Khan is like just new to the Bollywood. I mean, come on, he has been ruling the roost for so many decades. And do you think that he's playing like an innocent card by not knowing the ramifications of what he brings into the storyline? Come on. Or doesn't he have people around to say that, okay, what are the consequences going to be for bringing in such a storyline? This seems so absurd. This guy, pretending to be so innocent of not knowing what the ramifications are and then pleading guilty. And for those who are bringing in the 2014 card, probably, yeah, because there is a collective awareness that we will not take in any more kind of bull that we have been subjected to for so
Well, there you go. There's been a greater awakening. Call it what you want. Pradeep calling in from Bengaluru. Thank you, Dr. Ram. Pradeep calling in from Bengaluru. There you go. Good evening.
Hello.
Hi.
Good evening, Mr. Rahul. I'm a fan of Sanjay Jha and ARP, Anand Ranganathan and Rahul Shivashankar and Sushil Pandit. I would like to ask a question of Sanjay Jha. He is a Hindu. Every time he playing a Hindu, if he Hindu, every time the Bollywood disrespectful of our gods and goddesses, and also not opinion of Kashmir Files. So why this type of biased environment?
You're biased, Sanjay Jha. The viewer is asking, why are you biased?
Well, let me give him a simple answer. The Khans, whether it's Shah Rukh, Amir, Salman, they have been most popular in Hindi films, and because we all love them. But you know what is happening of late? Everyone is being made aware of their religious identity.
Oh, come on, come on, please. I mean, come on, sir. I mean, this is ridiculous. Salman Khan's last movie did so well. Did people say, oh, because he's a Muslim? Please, I mean, this is ridiculous. Anyhow, okay, Ram Charan, please. Yes, Ram Charan ji, please. Go ahead. Sitamarhi, Mr. Ram Charan. Yes, good evening.
Namaste, Rahul Shivashankar and Anand, Professor Ranganathan.
Good evening, sir. Good evening.
आमिर खान जो कह रहे हैं उनकी सोच बदली है या शब्द बदले हैं इसका तो कंफर्मेशन आमिर खान ही करेंगे लेकिन वो तुर्किश फिल्म की शूटिंग में गए थे और तुर्की आज एक कट्टर राष्ट्र है बनिस्बत उदार राष्ट्र के क्या उन्होंने भारत की चिंताओं के बारे में कोई एक शब्द क्या एक पंक्ति वहां के शासक से कही कि आपके भारत के विरोध समर्थन से कश्मीर में आतंकवाद को बढ़ावा मिलता है, हमारे यहाँ रक्तपात को बढ़ावा मिलता है, क्या ऐसी सोच का कोई परिचय उन्होंने वहां पे दिया?
फिलहाल तो हमें पता नहीं. I don't think so. पब्लिकली तो ऐसा कुछ सामने नहीं आया.
No, in fact, he did the opposite, Rahul. He actually told the first lady that Turkey was very safe.
You know, Dr. Ranganathan actually wrote a piece on this and the hypocrisy. Nonetheless, that was, I think, a year and a half ago. Nonetheless, viewers, let's move on because I think we've devoted enough time to Aamir Khan. The point we must emphasize here on Aamir Khan, viewers, India is not some bigoted country that's going to reject his movie because he happens to have said something as a Muslim at a particular point in time which was critical. That is not the reason. Please, there might be hundreds of others, but certainly this is not one.